Some Star Wars creatures are so strange, even the Jedi doubt they exist. From whales that swim between galaxies, to a winged predator that can inhale blaster fire, these are the mysteries hiding in the dark corners of the galaxy. Purrgil, giant, semi-sentient space whales that inhale Clauson gas and swim through the vacuum of space in pods. Pilots considered them to be a nuisance because they would often fly into nearby starships. Some Purrgil grew into Purrgil Ultra, reaching half the length of an Imperial Star Destroyer. Purrgil pods have even been known to cross the galactic barrier, something that the finest hyperdrives struggle to do without help. If life can do that naturally, who built the first doors the galaxy followed? Enter the Qua, blue-skinned telepaths from Dathomir. Yes, the same world that later birthed a certain red-skinned Sith. These Qua raised star temples across the galaxy, and inside those temples, infinity gates, force-powered hyperspace portals. The Qua weren't conquerors. They were teachers. They seeded worlds with the knowledge of the Force, and in the process, signed their own death warrant. They enlightened the tribal Rakata, who used these gifts to seize Qua gates, drive them back into Dathomir, and, over generations, leave them devolved into the semi-sentient Qui seen today. So, who were these Rakata, who could bring the mystics of the Qua to their knees? The Rakata of Lehon, smooth-skinned, predatory, often cannibalizing each other, already violent before they discovered their near-universal Force sensitivity. They took what the Qua shared and fused it with industry, birthing the Infinite Empire. They invented the hyperdrive, enabling them to travel from planet to planet using a starship, and decimated every civilization they encountered. Imagine starships grown from factories like fruit, an orbital forge fueled by stars in the dark side, the Star Forge, the magnum opus. They had entire sectors enslaved to feed it. The Rakata were relentless in their subjugation of the galaxy. They conquered world after world, and all non-Rakata were enslaved. Conquered Force users had the worst fate. They were plugged into machines as living batteries, imprisoning them to an excruciating fate of having their life force constantly drained. So lethal were they in their conquests that they were responsible for turning Tatooine into the desert planet seen today. Believe it or not, before the Rakata, Tatooine was a lush, tropical planet. As powerful as they were, the savagery of the Rakata eventually led to the Empire tearing itself apart. A civil war broke out, and on top of that, a plague decimated their population, stripping them of their sensitivity to the Force. Beaten and battered, they returned to their home planet Lehon, regressing back into the violent, tribal lifestyle of their ancestors. The Rakata were beings of utter darkness. But what if I told you there was a creature of pure balance? On Atollon lives a creature that calls itself the Bendu, the one in the middle, not light, not dark. Little is known about the Bendu. He's an ancient, Force-sensitive being. His species is unknown. He's a massive creature, the size of a 3-story building. He has hard beige plates around his body and a red mane around his face. He believes in a balance between the light side and the dark side, utilizing both sides of the Force with ease. Out of principle, he never got involved with the conflicts between the Jedi and Sith, but he will help train Force sensitives, spreading his teachings of balance. He's exceptionally powerful in the Force, able to appear and disappear at will, as well as being able to create massive storms out of thin air. And he can see into the future. As powerful as the Bendu is, he would be nothing without these next creatures. Midi-chlorians, microscopic symbionts living in every cell. Think organelles with a purpose. A biological interface that translates the will of the Force into life, as well as enabling their host to tap into the Force's power. While not the only factor, the more midi-chlorians in a host cell, the stronger their connection to the Force. The mystery isn't necessarily in their existence, it's the implication. How is it that a microscopic symbiont holds the key to something as crucial as the Force? You may be familiar with the dark side users called the Sith, but what if I told you that, in ancient times, the Sith were a type of creature? Before Sith referred to a creed, it meant a people, red-skinned, tendril-cheeked humanoids on the dark side nexus Korriban. They weren't tinkering in labs. They were ritualistic. Alchemy, blood sacrifice, magic that bent the living Force into shapes it was never meant to take. Their connection to the dark side was so strong, they could even gain sustenance from it. Exiled human Dark Jedi arrived, conquering their society and interbred with them. The result? An empire with the cunning of humans and the Sith connection to darkness. As time went on, the true purebloods were eventually bred out, the Sith Empire collapsed, and the species as a whole withdrew from the galaxy, eventually believed to be extinct. Empires leave ruins, but some mysteries don't leave ruins at all. They leave survivors. Behold the Zillo Beast, 97 meters of cathedral-scale armor, able to deflect blasters, explosions, and even lightsabers. A long, spiked tail capable of bringing skyscrapers to the ground, it was a beast to be feared. Originally from Malastare, they were once the top of the food chain, hunting the Dugs for food. Eventually, the Dugs outsmarted them and hunted them to extinction. At least, that's what the galaxy thought. But one day, during the Clone Wars, one woke up. It was transferred to Coruscant, where it was eventually killed by Palpatine. Although it was now dead, the Empire was eventually able to successfully clone it. But beyond those Imperial clones, it is likely that the Zillo Beast is extinct. The Zillo Beast forced the Republic to rethink weapons and containment. Now, imagine an entire biosphere that rewrites technology. For example, what if starships weren't built, but grown? From outside our galaxy come the Yuuzhan Vong, religious zealots who reject machines as blasphemy. Instead, they rely on living tech. Starships, weapons, tools. Everything had a pulse, and was bioengineered to bond with its wielder. To most Force sensitives, the Vong are a void in the Force. They can't be sensed, and most Force powers have no effect on them. Some edges still bite. Shatterpoint, Force Lightning, Vong Sense. But the Yuuzhan Vong fight as if the Force is a suggestion, not cosmic law. Their theology worships sacrifice and pain. Gods who gave their bodies so the galaxy could exist. Worshippers carve that lesson into their own flesh. A highly mutilated body equals high status. Living implants, symbiotic armor, grafted body parts. Legends hint that they once had a connection to the Force through their living planet. Yes, you heard me right. Living Yuuzhan. It was destroyed after a catastrophic civil war, and they were stripped of their connection to the Force. If the outside can invade the galaxy, this next creature haunts the roads between. Witness the Starweird, pale, gaunt, incorporeal to matter, with flowing white hair and a face that looks uncomfortably like a decayed version of your own. They've been reported in deep space, and even along hyperspace lanes. They don't talk. They scream into your mind, a psychic shriek that breaks courage before claws break bone. They can phase through physical matter, although, oddly enough, not force fields. But as deadly as they are, they're even more deadly to Force sensitives. They seem to hate them and will prioritize them when attacking. And when they die, there's no body. No residue, nothing. Kind of like what happens to the Jedi, who turn into Force ghosts. It's theorized that they are an embodiment of the dark side. While the Starweirds shredded through Force energy, the vampiric Ravna converted Force energy. Lord Ravna, a humanoid bat thing nesting in the Citadel of Light on planet Bray. Red eyes, winged arms, teeth like razors, and a talent for eating energy. Fire a blaster? He drinks it. Ignite a lightsaber? He inhales the blade. Worse, one scratch from his claws will turn you into a vampiric servant, forcing you to do his bidding. Not much is known about this unique ability, except that Force users are resistant, but not immune to it, and victims revert back when Ravna is defeated. No one knows where he came from, or what his species is. Is he one of a kind? Are there others like him? Even the most dedicated scholars have no idea. Well, there you go. These were 10 of the most mysterious creatures in the Star Wars galaxy I could find. I know this was far from a comprehensive list. Please comment about any other mysterious creatures that you find interesting. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And if you want to watch more, click one of the recommended videos on your screen now.